Good morning, folks. Captain Jerome here with Saltwater Swagger, coming to you with a little different video today. The time has finally come to repower the Everglades. I knew when I bought it a couple of years ago there was a chance of needing to repower. It's still got the original 2007 motors on it. The hard part about it all, the motors are great. Everything's ran perfect. I've only had to do maintenance. I did have to put new lower units on them, but that's to be expected after 1,400 hours or so. But the only reason I'm getting rid of them is because Honda doesn't offer triple controls, and I have to deal with these Glendinning actuators and this Glendinning handle set. And it's been awesome. It's been great when it worked. The first year I had it, no problems at all. But this past year I lost at least 7 months to those boxes, just not being able to control the motors. I mean, I couldn't put it in gear, couldn't do anything from the helm there. So time has come. I put an offer on some motors down in South Florida, charter boat repowering. So got some motors with higher hours, but well taken care of. Everything seems to be pretty good, and price is right to take a gamble on it. So I'm going to sell the Hondas. I'm going to try to sell all three as a set. I'm asking $12,000. That's only $4,000 per motor. 2 of the lower units are brand new, only have a couple hundred hours on them. I've got 3 extra lower units going with the package as well. The lower units alone are worth the asking price, not to mention 3 running motors. I've got 2 25-inch midsections and 1 30-inch midsection. All props included, gauges included, ignition, everything's included with the cost. And I'm gonna have somebody take these off. They will be crated up, or if it's a local purchase, just come pick them up so I can assist with freight, you know, whatever. So you can see here, this is the flushing system. Very simple, just a 3-way connector that I do, and you can see my salt away every single time we come in. Even if we're dog tired, I flush the motors. I do 4 or 5 minutes per motor, make sure it gets warmed up, and do that no matter what, even if we don't clean the boat or clean the fish. So here we go. This is first time cranking the motors since the last time we took them out on our last video. Let's see, this will be the Starboard motor. See, cranks right up. Again, this has been roughly 3 weeks since the last time they were even cranked up. The motor runs great. Very clean motors for the age. I mean, they are 16 years old now, but I wouldn't hesitate. Our last trip was 120 miles south, so roughly probably 260 mile round trip that we put on the boat. Ran perfectly. We just had to engage them and disengage them and accelerate, decelerate everything by hand down below. So certainly not ideal, but that is the port motor. I'll check back in here with the Starboard motor. Alright, so we're going to switch water here to our center motor and let it go and get going good. Oh, and we can see trim functioned properly. Everything functions properly. I did a DIY paint job on them. It made them look 100 times better in my opinion. I had many people ask me if I got new motors, but you know, if you look real closely, you can tell it's a DIY job, but you'll see some of the paint flaking in the later videos. But let's see, let's crank up center motor here. everything. I mean, the motors are top notch. I've had zero issues out of the motors. It's just strictly those actuators is the only reason I'm having to go through this expense, and it's very frustrating. Nobody here in Mobile or any of the surrounding areas works on those Glendinning actuators, and I've spent months sending them back and forth, and it's just gotten to be where, you know, I can't count on it to get me out there and back. And we won't do tuna trips. You know, we're hoping to do 8-10 tuna trips a year minimum. That's the center motor, and you can see again, paint job's not perfect, but it gets the job done. And I'll also include the paint that I used for this. Very simple, just your average spray paint stuff, some exterior spray paint. So if you wanted to touch up or redo anything, you'd be more than welcome. All right, so we'll shut the center down, switch everything over to our port motor. Make sure water gets flowing. All right, looks like we're good. All right, just crank up port motor. And again, this is the first time cranking them in almost a month, and they fire right up. I've never had any issues out of them except for an oxygen sensor on the center motor when I first purchased the boat. These motors had about 950 hours on them. I have put roughly 600 hours on them in 2 years, so they have been used and well taken care of. Just had a fresh oil change within 20 hours. All lower units changed 20 hours. New spark plugs 20 hours ago. A full entire service. All filters, everything. So the only real concern on them, the new lower units I put on are definitely flaking some, but it doesn't affect the, you know, the use of it. The midsections are starting to peel. This is what all the cowlings look like when I purchased it, and so that's why I did the DIY. So you can see, I mean, it's you know, it's peeling. It needs some TLC, but there's really nothing major wrong with them, just some appearance. But they all crank. The trim on every motor works as it should. Up and down, everything works. Like I said, if I had controls, I would be out, you know, 100 miles this weekend on this boat. I'd be coming back right now from an overnight tuna trip, but I did not get to go because I do not have controls. So that's them, 4,000 a piece, selling them as a set. If you need one, get the other two for parts motors. If you need two, great. Honda makes all kind of double controls, 2 motors, and you can have a third one on standby. I've got, like I said, 3 lower units going with them. I've got 2 standards that are working. I've got 1 counter rotation that is needing to be rebuilt, but there's the lower units just kind of sitting there, and I do have 1 extra cowling that goes with it as well. So, and like I said, all gauges, everything goes with the boat. I mean, with the motors, not the boat, keeping the boat. But that's it. Pretty straightforward. Heck of a deal for somebody.